As we're leaving the exhibition, we are moving more and more toward the heart of darkness. It's a bit dramatic, to take it with a grain of salt, but we'll end the exhibition with two artists who are interested in the moving image, in cinema. In a way, with Philippe Parreno and the Fireflies, we're looking at insects that were almost filmed on their own. They start their life with the light and they end their life with the light. It's a little bit like a movie. It starts when the light is on, goes on, and it ends when the light disappears. So the two last works of art we will have are both connected to this notion of time, narrative, telling stories that we've looked at through this exhibition. The first one that you see behind me, with this abstract projection on the wall, this is a work from an artist, by an artist named Francesco Troppa. Francesco Troppa is a little bit like a scientist. In this installation that you see moving behind me, he's reinventing cinema. The two structures that you see on the tabletop are these, not camera obscura, but shadow theater, light theater. He has reinvented the mechanism of cinema, which is to project an image through a lens. And this image is changing. It's a moving image, which is the definition of film. It's a moving image that doesn't necessarily, in this case, tell the story, doesn't tell a fiction, it's not a documentary. It's a moving image that goes to the smallest common denominator of cinema, light, time, and movement. And as you enter the room, you see the mechanism of time passing. There is almost a clock mechanism that got projected into the wall and rotate around the entire gallery where it is presented. In a way, it echoes also the Cristina Iglesias' work, where the shadow of the text, the pattern of the moucharabier are projected on the architecture. And like Philippe Parreno Firefly, the movement of the light is defining the experience of the work. And you will see when you come closer that it's really reinventing cinema with ad hoc means. He built the boxes, he built the light sources, and at some point you see almost this hole being punched into the wall, little bit like what Carlos Bunga is doing, managing an aperture into the wall, and it's just the light going through a geode, a stone, and the light going through the rocks, through the aperture in the rocks, is creating this almost burning phenomenon on the wall. Then when you go through this hole that is punching in the wall, you enter another double projection, because here, with this piece by Francesco Troppa, you have a double projection that totally reshaped the room, expand the room in a way as if the cinema was expanded itself. But when you go behind this wall, you have another double projection by the artist Douglas Gordon. Unlike Francesco Troppa, that really projects around, Douglas Gordon almost closed the movement of the exhibition, because you have two projections facing each other, as if it was the end of a story, like closing the architecture. And these two films that Douglas Gordon are projecting, you will see on the top of each other, are two films that cancel each other out content-wise. Two films that involve a vision and appearances of spirits. One is a movie dedicated to the life of Bernadette Soubirous, who had vision of sainthood, and the other one is the symmetrical opposite of that, which is The Exorcist. So you have two vision of good and evil, projected in a central screen in the middle of the room, as if these two images were meant to cancel each other out and interrupt the narrative created. And it's a work, as I say, by the artist Douglas Gordon, who, like Philippe Parreno, who did The Firefly, has been very interested in how much cinema inform our world, inform our culture, inform our relationship to time. And in a way, it goes back to almost what Julião Sarmento was doing with the Prince of Hamburg, trying to figure out other ways to unfold a narrative cycle.